All right, so I thought I'd film this video to give you some kind of tips about working from home, because this is something that I have done for many years. I've been essentially a full-time digital nomad up until travel restrictions and governments became tyrannical. But when I could travel, I was. And so now I'm just kind of working from home from my main place. But there's many things that you can kind of do that will make it so much easier, so much more fun, and ultimately so much more healthy to be working from home. Because if you're used to working in the office, you naturally would have got more kind of social time. You would have been walking around more, usually, because the offices are spread out. The toilets are usually further away from where you sit. You have to go away for different, meeting rooms, lunch, whatever. So one of the most obvious things is that you need to be, so let's just go through them one by one. I'll show you kind of the things I do to make working from home a lot easier. I'll start with the physical things, and then I'll get onto the more mental side of things after that. And I'll sit down so it's less stressful. Okay, so the first thing that I'll show you now is I have a standing desk. And this is something which I think is really important because, and by the way, this little standing desk here, this cost about £10 on Amazon. It's very cheap, very easy. You can adjust all the different limbs so you can have it from different heights and everything. It also makes it much more comfortable to work from the sofa, which is something that I might show you later. But standing desk, very important, because if we're sitting down all day, it's very bad for you. It's one of the, they say it's almost as bad as smoking if you sit down all day and you're sedentary. So being stood up is obviously an easy way to fix that. Very cheap, very easy, and you can just put your laptop on the stand. Another thing you'll notice is that I have several things. You can't see it now, there's actually a kettlebell just behind this curtain, which I do kettlebell swings with. I've got a little stool here so I can kind of half sit, half stand. A yoga ball, a little exercise ball, because again, it keeps your core active and it's much better than just sitting on a sofa. This is a rebounder, so very good for the bones, ligaments, lymph system, even digestion. Just a rebounder just for a few minutes every day is very good for, especially if you're working from home, but just really anytime. So that's the first kind of tip I would say, is like keep yourself active, sit on different things if you can. I've got little bean bags, exercise ball, rebounder, bench, kettlebell, standing desk. So you should mix all of that with sofa or actual table, which is kind of a last resort for me. I prefer the other stuff. Next tip, as you can see, is if you can, be a bit minimalist. There's very little clutter here, and that's because I find that when things are cluttered, it's harder to think, for me at least. So I like to keep things very minimalist, very easy, very simple setup, nothing distracting me, nothing too crazy. What else? Okay, let me just show you here. Another tip would be to have a whiteboard like this, so you can put all of your to-do list, your goals and everything somewhere you can clearly see them. You can brainstorm ideas, you can use it for presentations and whatever else. Very useful. I would highly recommend that. So really, working from home can be very easy. It can actually be better in many ways, as long as you keep yourself active, because I think there's been studies into this, like sitting down for a long periods of time every day can be really bad, almost as bad as smoking. It's very easy as well to just get sucked into that routine and that habit, really, of just sitting for too long. So now we're going to get on to the more, so that was the hardware kind of stuff, keep yourself active, standing up. Now I guess the software, and then lastly will be the mindset. So software, I'll just show you actually. Okay, to be honest, this applies no matter whether you work at home or from the office, but more so if you work from home, because you're going to be probably on your laptop more often. This is a software called Iris. There's a free version and a paid version. It basically stops your screen giving you blue light past certain times, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. There's all kinds of settings you have here. It gives you kind of like reminders to stand up, move around. It's all kinds of stuff. But mainly the blue light and the temperature. It makes the screen give you less blue light, which is much better for your eyes. Okay. Next thing is Cold Turkey Blocker. This is the pro version of a free software, and basically what you can do is you can set different blocks so it physically stops you going on certain websites. So for example, let's say if I try to go on Instagram right now, it says it's blocked, and it will say that basically until I'm allowed to go on it. So Instagram, I'm allowed to go on it between 4 and 8 p.m. That's the limits I've set, and it's very useful for keeping you productive basically. Very useful for keeping yourself productive because it's so easy to just get sucked into social media and browsing through timelines and everything like that when you should be working. That kind of applies to whether you work from home or not, but working from home, this is the video, may as well talk about it. And then next, I guess lastly, we have mindset. So with mindset, when you work from home, it's very easy to be tempted to do the things that you normally do at home. Maybe watching movies, napping, eating more than you should, or I don't know, going on your phone, playing around, playing with your pets. It's very easy to do these things because you're already in your house. There's nobody watching you as such, So with mindset, what I like to do is I try and keep myself in some kind of routine, and I only focus on the first part of the day, because in the second part of the day, sometimes you have plans, sometimes you have other things to do, you get distracted. The first part of the day is easier to control because especially when you've just woken up, if you do your routine then, there's very few things that will distract you if you do it first thing. Whereas as the day goes on, there's more and more distractions, things happen, you get pulled around. So I like to have a morning routine, which is almost non-negotiable unless I'm completely unable to do it. And in this morning routine, I'll do, meditation, visualization, so a bit of exercise, Tibetan rites, foundation training, rebounding, a bit of stretching, that kind of thing, as well as doing the usual morning stuff, playing with my rats or whatever. So it helps to have a morning routine. It also really helps to have that cold turkey blocker because it physically stops you going on distracting sites. You can even block things like specific search words. Let's say if you're addicted to checking the news or something, you can actually block the word news. But be a bit careful with that because it can, if you don't set it up right, it can block things that you didn't want it to block. Especially with YouTube URLs, because there's random strings of letters and numbers. So, for example, I recently blocked the letters UK because I kept on checking the UK news. I would type in UK and check the news. So I blocked the letters UK, and then what that actually ended up doing is it blocked half of the YouTube videos because they have UK in the URL, some of them in the random URL strings. So play around with it, there's a setting where you can lock the block, which is where you're unable to change the settings for a given time. Play around with it before you do that, just to make sure that you've not accidentally blocked sites you actually want to go on without knowing it. Okay, and then so another tip is to have an accountability partner, someone every week you tell them what you're going to do in that week work-wise, and then they kind of keep you accountable and ask you, how's it going? Have you done your task or have you not? Why not? That kind of thing. Alongside that, you can keep a journal. I like to keep a weekly journal. I don't write in one every day. I think that's too much. But a weekly journal is just about right. You can reflect on what happened, write how you can improve the next week, that kind of thing. That really helps. And also just from a spiritual perspective, it helps to get your feelings and thoughts out on paper so that they take up less space in your head. Even if you don't think they do, they do weigh down on you eventually. So it's good to get them out on paper and just let them go in that way. Yeah, so they're my tips on working from home, and these are kind of things that I've adapted over, especially when I was traveling as well. These are things that I can do while I travel. You don't need anything special for this routine. You can work from home in this way from any home. It doesn't have to be your home. It can be an Airbnb, a hotel, whatever. If I had to say my favorite part, it's just being able to, getting up and moving first thing in the morning. I think that's really important. Even just a bit of stretching or yoga or something to get the body moving. That really helps to set you up for the day. And then second favorite would be the cold turkey blocker, because as much as we like to think we have really strong willpower, it's so easy to get distracted. We think, we've got a few minutes break here. Let's just quickly check Instagram or quickly scroll through Facebook. And then before you know it, you're down a rabbit hole. You're scrolling through the comments on some random video, and it's been an hour, and you haven't done any work, and now you don't feel like doing work because you've fried your dopamine system by watching all these random videos, and then the day is almost gone. Let me know in the comments what your best tip for working from home is, and also what you do in terms of working from home. I'm really curious. It's been an interesting few years, and I think a lot more people are starting to work from home, and a lot of people are also starting to make their own businesses. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.